Welcome back to LarryB YouTube channel. In this class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful Basque dress. You can see the Basque effect that we have on the dress, and it's a gathered dress, as you can see. On the upper part here, it has an invisible zipper, which makes it comfortable and easy to wear for especially a nursing mother. So you can open the zip to whatever length you want, and if you zoom it in, you notice that there is no visible zipper there. So I also have a basic sleeve with feathers. There's a tutorial on how I made this sleeve as well. If you want to see how I did this, it's already uploaded on the channel. It's a very beautiful dress, as you have seen, and it's very easy to make. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So I'm cutting this directly on my fabric, and I have folded the front and back on each other. So ideally, there is no zipper in front, okay? The bias there is just for design, but I want this to be easy for a nursing mother to wear. So in between the bias, I'm just going to try to insert a zipper in between, so that you can just open it and do whatever it is you want to do. So if you notice now, I marked half an inch, okay? I marked half an inch here at the center front for that zipper, and then this 1 inch from here to here is 1 inch. That's for my back zipper. So all the measurements I'm going to be taking is going to start from here. So I'll start by taking my shoulder measurement. The shoulder is 7.5, so I'll mark 7.5 inches here. But before then, I'm going to mark like half an inch allowance, which is going to serve as my shoulder allowance. So here, from here, I'm going to mark 7.5, and here I'm going to come down by 1 inch from my shoulder slope. I'll mark 3 inches here, just like we do for our regular basic bodice, and then I'm going to connect. So I'm going to mark my armhole as well. It's a simple blouse. You can see there's no bustier, there's nothing. I'm just going to take a waist dart on this. So here I'm going to repeat the 7.5, and then I'm going to mark it so that I can mark my armhole line. So here I'm going to get the midpoint of this, and on the midpoint you're going to go in by half an inch, and then you're going to mark your bust measurement. The bust is 44, divided by 4 is 11. So I have 11 inches here, and the little that I have here is going to be my seam allowance. So now I'm going to take my curved ruler, and then I'm going to link all of those points together for my armhole cuff. So here on the waistline, like I said, there's going to be a waist dart. So you're going to get your bust span measurement here, and then you're going to mark from the shoulder area. I'm going to mark my bust point, and on that point again I'm going to get my bust span measurement, and then I'm going to make it a straight line. So I'm going to take half an inch, sorry, on both sides, and I'm going to mark that for my dart. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead now and notch that area, so that I can easily sew it when I get to my sewing machine. So I'm just placing notches where the darts are supposed to be. Okay, so now the next thing is to take your actual waist measurement. So the waist here is 36 divided by 4 is 9. So here I'll mark 9 inches, and then I'm going to mark the 1 inch dart, and then I'm going to mark another 1 inch for my seam allowance. So once you do all of that, the next thing is to go ahead and then connect, just as seen. So that is all I'm going to be doing here. Okay, so here you're going going to cut out your armhole as well. You can cut the front and back hole separately, but just like to cut one together. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut my shoulder slope. Okay, so this here you can use it for allowance, but I just noticed that the arc length I measured was too long, so that was why I just scraped it off like that. So here you're going to go ahead and mark your neckline. So for my back neckline, I think I am 2.5 inches is okay. I don't want it too low, so I'll just take my ruler and connect that. Then I'm going to decide whatever neckline that I want to work with for the front. So this is the back neckline. So for the skirt, you're going to fold your fabric again into two, just like I have folded it. So the length is going to be where your waistline stops to that V shape that you want. So depending on how deep you want it to be, for me I want it to stop around 32 inches, so I just left the selvage as seam allowance to cut it. So that is the length. So now the next thing you're going to measure once you fold it, you can see this is my zipper allowance. There is no zipper at the front skirt, so it's completely closed. So here you're going to mark your back. Okay, you're going to mark your waistline, sorry, with your seam allowance, the waistline plus that. Remember, the waistline is 9 plus that's 10 inches. That's what I marked. So here again you're going to go ahead and mark your dart, and then you mark 1/2 inch on both sides of the dart. So that is what I'm going to go ahead now and notch. And then the dart length is going to be 5 inches. So when I'm sewing on the machine, I'm just going to sew this down by 5 inches. But for the purpose of the tutorial, let me just mark it down so that we can see. Okay, so I have 5 inches there. I'm just going to connect it to each of the dart legs. So those are my darts. So now to create that basque effect that we have there, I'm going to come to this side. My actual hip line is 26 inches, so I want this to be on the upper hip area. So I'm not going to be working with 26 inches. So you can see this is 26 inches. So I came down a little bit. I came up by, you can come up by 2 or 3 inches. I can also place it on your waistline if that is what you want. So I came up by 3 inches and I have 23 inches here. So once you have your 23 inches there, you're going to go ahead and mark your hip. So the hip I'm working with is 45, divided by 4 is 11.25. So I'm going to mark that, and then I'm going to mark my seam allowance as well. So from where your hip stop, which is there, you're going to grab your ruler and then connect a V like this to form your basque. And from there as well, I'm going to connect my side seam. Okay, so this is the allowance that I connected. So now what I'm going to do now is to cut out the side shape. So after shaping the side, I'm going to cut into my seam allowance, and then I'll cut the basque for both front and back. So I'm going to cut this back for both front and back. And when you get to the back, you leave out your zipper allowance just like that. So here I'm going to open the zipper area just to indicate that the back have a zipper. So this is the design that I'm going to have for the front. So you can see what we have there. So now I'm going to go ahead and use this to cut out my lining. Okay, so you can see I have gone ahead to cut lining for it. This is the back with the lining, this is the front. Okay, so this is the back of the upper part with the lining as well. This is the front of the upper part with lining, and this is the front of the lower part with the lining. So you go ahead and take your dart, and then for the front, remember I said I want to fix a zipper in front, so I'm going to open the center front of the half length, and then I'll go ahead and install a zipper there. Then I'm going I'm going to fix a zipper there, and I'm also going to take my dart. So I'll do all of this now and bring it back to show us. So I have fixed a zipper at the center front now, as you can see. So a zipper is fixed there. I decided to fix an invisible zipper, you can see, so that it's not going to be so noticeable. Okay, but you can fix any zipper of your choice, but for me, I decided to use this invisible zipper so that it's not going to be noticeable. You can see that you barely know that the zipper is installed at the center front. So now, after fixing my zipper, before I turn the neckline, I'm going to go ahead and place this bias beside the zipper. So I'm going to just sew it down straight like this on both sides. So assuming you are not using an invisible zipper like me, if your zipper is a normal one which is noticeable, when you are fixing your bias, you can just make it overlap on each other like this, so that it can help cover your zipper up a little bit. But because mine is not noticeable, I'm just going to go ahead and place it beside it, and then I'm going to sew it on this before turning with my lining. So I'm going to be sewing on the two sides like this. Okay, so I've gone ahead to sew in the bias. You can see I sew in the bias on the two sides, and you can barely notice that there is a zipper there, you can see. So now I used my lining, and you can see that it is neatly turned inside as well. So I've used my lining to turn the main fabric, and this is what it looks like. So this is the back as well. I have turned the back and I installed my zipper to the back. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to lay the front and back on each other. I'm going to join the shoulder, and then you're going to measure your bust and waist and use that to shape the side as well. So after that, we're going to calculate the lower part. So I have joined it on the shoulder, and I also sew the side seam. So this is what I have so far. So the next thing to do now is to measure around this hem. That's the Basque area. You take your tape and measure around it, or you just measure one of it like this, and you multiply that by 4. Remember, we have 1 2 for the front and 1 2 for the back. So this is 16. If you multiply 16 by 4, you're going to have 64. So now, depending on how full you want this to be, you can multiply the 64 by 2 or 3. Okay, so it's totally up to you and the amount of fabric you have to work with. If you want it really full, you multiply by 3, and not so full, you can multiply by 2 or 2.5, and you are going to use that to cut out your fabric. That's going to be the width of your fabric. Then for the length, you are going to work with the shortest part, which is this. So for me, from the upper part, this is around 23 inches. So I want the length to be around 40 inches, around 50 inches, the total length. So I'll deduct the 23 from 50, and I'm going to have around 27. So the 27 inches now, I'm going to add 1 inch for hemming the upper part, and then another 1 inch for hemming the lower part, and then you add your joining allowance as well. I'm just adding 3 inches to the 27. So I'll go ahead and cut out a fabric of 27 inches, of 30 inches long. Okay, and then the width is going to be this that I measured multiplied by 2.5. So you can see I have hemmed mine. This is going to be the upper part. So I want to hem it. You can also weave it. So after doing that, now I'm going to go ahead and start gathering it. So when I want to gather this now, I'm not going to be gathering it in such a way that the seam allowance is going to be inside. No, I'm going to be gathering it on top of this like this, so that I'll have all of this. That was why I hemmed the upper part. You can also weave it. If you weave it, it's going to be finer. So I'm going to go ahead now and start gathering it on top of this, so that all of this seam allowance will form like a design on the hem for me like that. So that's what I want to do. So I'll go ahead now, take it to the sewing machine and start gathering it from the back, and then I'll gather it through the front and back to the back. So after gathering like that, you hem the lower part and your dress is ready. So you can now go ahead and fix any sleeve of your choice to this. So this is what we have once you sew in the gathers. You can see the way I sew it. I make sure that the tip is showing like this, because that's the style I want for it. And then you go ahead and hem the dress. So this is what it looks like. So on the chest line area, you can see the zipper that I placed there, so you can open it up and do whatever it is you want to do, and you can close it up again. And it's an invisible zipper, so it's not so visible. You can see that if you zoom in, you will not notice that there is a zipper installed there. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one.